access level has recently increased. Excellent. Incoming message.
Good evening and welcome to episode 44 of Behind the Scanner. Your hosts for tonight are Daphne D. from Washington, D.C. and Jorge Pedrero from Mexico City. Our special guests tonight are Sachin Shenoy from Bangalore and Zeke Cow from Atlanta. Welcome to the show.
The Q&A tool is enabled for tonight's broadcast. Submit your questions throughout the show and we'll ask as many as time allows. If you know someone who would make a great guest, submit their information to us at bit.ly/BTS_guest. Finally, you can watch past episodes and subscribe to our channel at youtube.com/behindthescanner. And now, your hosts of Behind the Scanner.
And we are here. Welcome. Good evening, agents. Welcome to episode 44 of Behind the Scanner. And let's get the show started with our first guest, that is Agent Shelter, actually known as Sashin Shenoy from Bangalore, India. Hello, Sashin.
Hi.
Yay, glad to have you on. So, Sachin, what time is it over there in India right now?
It's at morning 6:30 a.m.
Dear gosh.
Wow.
Well, thank you for getting up maybe a little earlier than you normally do.
No, usually I get up by 6 a.m. because I have to send my kids to school and all, so this is just okay time for me. And this is the best time to do an op also. Most of the agents are asleep at this time.
Okay. Good. And I take it you're off of duty for taking your kids to school?
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So, I mean, as an American, your name, Sheldor, it makes me think of a combination of a sitcom character and a planet, and I just have to know, how did you get your agent name?
I got it from the same place. So I used to watch Big Bang Theory, and Sheldon over there used to play a game, and his online screen name was Sheldor, right? Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, I want to know, India has been known for some of its largest fields and skills, and most notably a few weeks ago with Operation Buddha. Tell us about that, please.
Okay, it's really hard to basically talk about an op that took 7 months to plan in say in two to 3 minutes. So I could say that it was an experience. It was a real experience which I carry for the rest of my life. Made lots of friends, lots of connection. Learned to deal with situations. I think the field itself everyone saw and everyone can know about it, but the things that happen behind is the more interesting part. So I got to know about 30 more agents trying to do this, and a couple of agents who try to help us, then they stop playing Ingress. It's a very long happening thing, but the overall experience was really awesome, and we did achieve what we really want to. So I'm glad about that.
Wow, 7 months. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, even back, a couple years ago when I was a total noob, I mean, India was known for your large-scale, mind-blowing fields. And did you participate in many of those back then?
I think I was one of the earlier Ingress players. I joined in November itself, November 2012. But then I took a break of say 6 months because my startup work was too time consuming, and I did not see that Ingress can become a team game at that point because I was only level 4. So when I was off for 6 months and when I came back, I saw that couple of big ops were done both by Enlighten and Resistance. Right, that's the first time I realized, oh, this can be done. Right, I had no clue. Right, so I think the when I just came back, Resistance had done the op called In Deception, if I'm right. I don't remember the name, but it was very impressive, right? And that got me in saying that, wow, we can do things like that. So initially, maybe not, I was not part of it, but then soon I got the hang of it. I started doing small city level ops and then graduated to state level and then finally like, country level sort of stuff. So it was fun.
Wow. So, what would you say are some kind of your lessons learned, or any tips that you'd be willing to share out to aspiring multi-mega million, trillion, billion fielders out there?
Yeah, so I guess my tip might only work in India if someone wants to do it. I know that the geography, the way the portals are, the number of agents present, and number of crosslinks that can be there varies extremely from country to country. I'm pretty sure doing an op like this in US would be next to impossible, right? It might take 7 months and so many agents, 7,000 agents perhaps to get this done because there's so many crosslinks across cities. There are so many agents who will throw crosslinks in seconds, right? So over here in India, we have a geographic advantage saying that people who play are in the cities only, and between cities they're like 400 or 1,000 kilometers. Separate, right? So there are not way too many crosslinks. You might have 20, 30, but that can be managed, right? Uh, so, uh, so the advice I can give is that go by which city you are, and then just may not the things that we can do over here might not be possible in your country, right? And that's the way game is, right? We can't do much about it. I think in my experience, I think the best thing that I had is that slowly building up a team, building up relationship. Right, I remember calling one agent and waking him up at night 11:30 and asking him to do something, right? So I was very honest to him, saying, "I'm sorry about disturbing you, but we are planning something really big, and we don't have anyone to help us, right?" And that agent actually helped. I was prepared to be scolded, right? Who are you? Why are you calling me? I am sleeping, right? But I think that built a relationship, and I would never forget all the relationship I made. I remember every time I called someone, every time someone gave me a key, I remember every detail of it. Right? The time, the place, the agent, who it was, for every op, right? And then I constantly remind them also, thanks for doing this, right? So I think that is the largest experience, or the benefit that I thought of Ingress compared to any virtual game, right? Here you participate and meet real people and real agents, right?
Well, it always amazes me the things that players can do to play English, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and you just mentioned that you are one of the first players in India. When did you start to play, and how did you found about the game?
I started on the November 2012 itself. My previous company, right now, just after I used to work at Google. So I had quit Google and I was doing my startup. And one of my employees came and told that, did you know Google just launched a new game, right? And I was saying, okay, what is that? Why would Google launch a game? It's like unheard of, right? So I immediately got the invite, I installed it, and I think my interest was to look at the gamification because I remember that we wanted to get a lot of local data for maps, and we were thinking, should we may build a game so that people would play the game and we will get the data. So these discussions were in my past while I was working at Google. So I thought, oh, they finally did this, or which team did this, right? Sort of stuff. So initial was just curiosity of what the game is, how the gamification is. So I played a bit. I was only level 4, level 5 for 2.5 months. I was not seriously playing, but that's how I got introduced.
Okay.
And so you mentioned that you started a startup after leaving Google. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so actually I attempted a startup on dating space to make online dating easier for Indians. But I think I stopped that within 3-4 months because of various reasons. And then I moved on to my current startup, which is an health and wellness startup, trying to get people more healthy. And it's going good. Since last 3 years, I've been there.
So it's true that Ingress helped in some way to grow in the growing your startup in some way.
Yeah, very true. So I'm like pretty old for the new generation. Like I'm like 39 years old. So hiring people fresh out of college was very hard for me because I don't have any network out there, right? And then we had to hire engineers. We had to hire the entire team for the startup, right? And hiring is so I think the biggest issue in any company, right? So I just found out this large pool of agents who had various backgrounds and various what do you say capability in terms of software to in terms of managing people, right? So we like I was a coder, so I like coding in my part time. So I built tools for making op execution easy, planning easy, right? I was doing that, and then I shared these tools with people. So then the agents started contributing. They started looking at the code, asking me questions. Then I quickly realized, okay, this agent is good. I want to hire him, right? So that went on. First, it sounded very impossible, or it's very thing. But actually, I hired one agent, and once I hired one, I hired two more, right? So it was like uh, really beneficial for me as expanding my company.
Great.
Very fun. So did your lunch breaks happen to include ingress walks?
Yeah. So we used to play a lot in the initial phases, right? Go and make a P7 portal, hack keys for it, discuss about our company, strategy, product, but we'll be hacking for keys. So it was like very interesting and very what do you say, relaxing. Out of work, but we still are together, and we all are doing the same thing that we really want, enjoying. And but I think after some point, the one agent stopped playing, and then we all were like in our own zones. Yeah.
Gotcha. Fun though. Very cool. All right. So for those of you who are watching, remember that you can submit questions for our guest, Sachin, and also for later on for Zeke. Just put an @ and just let us know specifically who the question's for. I see that they're already coming in, which is great. Those of you who are watching via YouTube, just remember you've got to click the banner at the bottom of the video that says be part of the conversation. And from there, just click the square grid menu icon in the upper right and select QA. And we look forward to hearing from you guys. Okay, so back to Ingress. Sachin, despite your epic accomplishments, you mentioned you sort of stopped playing after turning 8. You had that break, and you still plan these ops, and now, so what's your gaming status?
Okay, so I think after L8 till L8, it was very clear focus, right? Every agent wants to become a level 8, and I was like making sure that I'll reach there. So as soon as we reached there, I thought that no longer no more point getting more AP or anything, right? Now we just have to. If I spend time on this, that means that I'm taking my time off from my work, off from my family, right? So I was like pretty sure that if I'm doing something, it has to be on a large scale. It has to be big scale, well worth my time, right? So yeah, so just after L8, I was like out of hacking portals or breaking portals or fields. I was just into planning, and then since as I told, since Ingress did provide me the opportunity of write code, build tools, I was like completely into it, right? So yeah, I did plan a lot of fields. I think when 13 Magnus happened in India, we made around 500 million MU field, 17 layers. At that time, it was huge. It was considered wow. I didn't know that we could do bigger, but at that time, I thought that that is the maximum we could do, and we did great and all. but soon realized that we could do bigger than that, right? And did plan after some time, did plan a couple of billion ops, and then did a 5 billion op called Buddhi. I think it was really fun doing an op without even knowing that you can achieve that level of score, what's going to happen, whether we will do it or not. Then, in just 2 weeks back, we did, or a month back, we did op Buddha. I guess right now things, since I've been so into Ingress and so much time has been going, I had to make a call whether is this how long I can do this, right? How much time I can spend on it. So if I have to now participate further, right? If I have to break break barriers again, it would involve really lot of time, and that could mean that I'll be taking my time off my work, which is very critical, and also with family time, right? And I can explain more how it takes time off family, but it does take time off family. So knowing who I am, how I do, how addictive things are to me, and how obsessed I am with things, I had to make the tough call, really, really tough call, and then delete my account. That was the only way I would free myself. And even though I feel very sad and bad about it, I think I had to do that.
So,
Well,
okay, I'm sorry. I hope you know why I'm asking, but
yeah.
it took 7 months to plan. Did you execute it even after you deleted your account, or how long ago did you delete your account?
No, I deleted my account 3 days after the op was over.
Okay.
Yeah, so because once the op was done, I quickly got the next op plan in my mind, right? The seed of the next plan. And then I realized this is not going to end, right? I'll be doing this, but for whom and how much time and what, right? So I had to make the choice of saying that, okay, it's time. What I had to do, maybe I had done, and all the connections and people I have to make, they'll constantly be there, right? So, yeah.
Okay, well, we are all struggle with work-life game balance. So this is certainly important, but isn't there still a connection between home life and game life?
Okay, so I agree that there needs to be a balance, and I believe that Google might be playing a very cruel social experiment over here, and we are all part of that experiment. So imagine right now, if you're playing, say, basketball or any of the game, right? You have a set time for it. Say after work, you will meet your friends and play the game. So say 1 hour, 2 hour after work, and there's a field that you get in, right? A court or a field that you walk in, you take the ball, you play, and then you come out. So once you come out of the game, you only carry the positive energy out of it. You're not thinking about the game, you are out of the field, right? What Google has done over here is that the entire world is a field, so you can never get out of the world, out of the field, right?
Yeah.
So that's one. And second, the game never stops, right? Like I remember I was in a very critical meeting of my startup. And this was way back when I was L4, and there were only like 50 portals all across Bangalore. And one of my portals starts getting attacked. I immediately called for a coffee break.
Oh, no.
I run towards the portal, right? In 3 minutes, I reach the portal, I defend it, and run back in 10 minutes, I'm back in my meeting, right? It looks silly. It looks, why would someone do that? You have work to do, right? But
Yeah.
that's real, because what Google has done is that, they said there is no end to it, there is no start to it, and you just can't escape this, right? Even while I'm having, say, dinner with my family, if I'm supposed to be like focused with my family, my kids, my wife, but very frankly, while I was doing and planning ops, like 90% of the time, I'm thinking about, oh, should we switch the cities? Should I do like this? Should the links pass from here to there, right? Then I think, what the hell is happening here, right? Am I living completely in this game, or yeah? So it really affects. So I think each person has to make a call, and based on how obsessed and how addicted the person is, they can make a call, right? I know people who are playing well, they're enjoying, they have a family, and they're able to do. Certainly, it's not the way I am built. I'm like very obsessed. Once I start something, I just can't stop myself. So that has been issue for me, but I know that agents, if they really prioritize and say that I'm only going to do this much and I'm only going to work this much, then it's a good game. I'm saying this is a really, really fun thing.
Okay, well, so you had colleagues who played. Do they still play?
One of the colleagues still pays. All of them have account. They've not deleted it. I think they know how to control more than me. One of them still
Okay.
pays a lot. The other person is sort of semi-retired. Right? He's also focusing on what to do next, sort of stuff. Or
Okay.
two of them have sort of retired. One person is still playing when it's enjoying also.
Okay. How about at home?
Home, okay, my wife did create an account and was part of my first op. But then she saw me how obsessed I am around it. And then she said, okay, no, we don't want this, right? So it's been a tussle at home because if I'm participating in an op and planning such great op and with all agents at all over India at the right location, she asked me if you can do plan all that, why don't you fix the broken shelf that is there broken for the last 2 months? Now it becomes really
Yeah.
hard to argue against that, right? So I said I called a carpenter.
Right.
Carpenter didn't show up. So she said that if your op was blocked by that shelf, I'm pretty sure it'll get fixed in 5 minutes.
Sure.
So
Okay.
yeah, it's fun. It's
You
fun.
shared
But
that.
yeah.
All right. So, what are some of now that your account's deleted? What are some of the things you miss most about the game?
I guess, of course, there is a out of the world identity that got created, and agents. I think, I should be saying that I'm grateful, or I'm getting respect that I might not deserve also, right? So it all makes you feel very important and very happy, right? So leaving that is very hard, right? One is that, but that was not the biggest thing that I miss. Really the biggest thing is then the fear that I might lose all the connection, right? If now I've deleted my account, now will agents still ping me? They will, all the friends that I made will still be in touch with me, or their what do you say, association with me is over, right? So that was the biggest thing because, of course, you've made so many good friends and you always want to be in touch with them. But if you are not into the same thing that they are, maybe the connection might lose. So that was the biggest
Yeah.
thing that I fear and I miss too.
Well, I'm sure you are quite loved in your community, who has probably tried to pull you back to the game so many times. So well, I I fear for you, man, because they they are probably going to be successful in that.
Yeah, so they don't have to work so hard to be successful. I'm like, I myself might fall for it, right? So that's why I had to go for that hard step. And very frankly, even after like deleting and all, I'm still thinking about it. Oh, I've not set up the team properly. And I've not set up the. If I just suddenly leave, the new people are not trained well, right? So I already have that in me, saying that there's something more I have to give, and I think it's I have to be very mature if I have to fight that and succeed. Let's see who wins. The time will tell.
Okay, we have a saying about not holding your breath. However, it is true that you have a superhuman talent about holding your breath.
Okay, so I guess it's not just about the breath. I told right now I'm obsessed about things. Once I start doing something, then I just can't stop myself. So I think sometime I saw that someone held the breath for 2 minutes or so, long time back when I was a kid, 14-year-old or 15-year-old. So I was like adamant I'm going to hold breath for more than 2 minutes, right? And then basically there's no stopping for me, right? And then went ahead, trained myself, practiced myself, and then held my breath for 4 minutes. So I'm glad that I stopped. I was like, knowing me, if someone had challenged me, can you hold your breath for 6 minutes, 7 minutes, I have to accept the challenge, and most likely, it had been a very serious consequence, right? But yeah, it has all to do with the obsessive nature that I carry.
That is
Damn.
a sign, definitely. How old were you again when you
I
did
was
this?
14 years old.
Jeez. All right. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, but
I
I
got.
repeated that just a couple of years back, just to prove that I still can do it.
Oh my.
What's the world record? I have to wonder.
It was some 19 minutes, I believe. 19 minutes,
Okay,
30
yeah, we're not
seconds
gonna
or
ask you to
something.
do that here. All right. So are you ready for a couple of viewer questions?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So Joe Thoreau is on top of it, and I actually really like his this question. I was wondering, do you have any future startups in the works?
No, not right now. So I'm in middle of my current startup, and it will take another 3 years at least before I can say it's reached at some place. So we are in a pretty good space right now, pretty good place. Funding and all has come in, but it will take 3 years to finish it. But once it finishes it, yeah, I'll be open for so many more opportunities.
Did you just say 10th startup?
No, no, no. I said that this is my third one.
Third,
Uh,
okay.
yeah, third one. Yeah. Yeah, anything more?
Wow, fast.
Daphne?
They're enlightened or cross-faction?
Can you come again? I just lost you there.
Yeah, we
Uh,
lost you.
sorry, field art. Did you, instead of just fields, but have you done any art, either just enlightened or cross-faction?
So we did the Enlighten, not field art, that Apple Seed was there, right? So during Apple Seed, we participated in that. Field art, none. We wanted to do, tried a lot. I wanted to do between Enlighten and Resistance. Many wanted. But sadly, I guess the competitive spirit is so high that there is most of the time people say, no, I don't want to play with you, sort of spirit, right? Then it becomes very hard to form a team. And then in India especially, I think if one thing I could change, that would be like compete well on field, but be friends and be good off the field, right? And then do something together between Enlighten and Resistance. But all I see is that there is very competition on and off the field, and they don't want to see each other. That level of competition, right? So because of that, we've never done. But I hope someone does that. Someone fixes it and does that.
Okay. And all right, I'm just going to ask Joe's other third question. Um, many players seem to get stagnant after LA, and he's wondering if you have any advice for newer players on how to stay involved, or would you recommend a break similar to yours?
No, I guess they get stagnant because they've reached the goal. It's like, they've been running to reach a goal, finish line, right? And the moment you reach finish line, you take a break and think, okay, is this why I worked so hard, right? So that phase change is really good because now you have to, as a player, you have to reprioritize what is the next you want to do, right? I would say that during that phase, help other agents, like lower agents level up, teach them, right? I think that's very critical, very important because that will build your ability to form relationship, keep friends, how to interact with people. It'll help outside the game also, right? How do you build a team or build a friendship, social interaction. That'll help anyway. Then of course may not be. I think I should say that it's very easy in India to make a lot of fields because we have larger MU and and then the topology that I mentioned. It need not be the billions, but if you make even say 20 layer field in a local city or local place, it's fun, right? Everyone will figure it out how hard it is and what works and what not. So after L8, I think agents can come together, form a team of 20, 30 agents, and say that let's try and build some large field that we've not done yet, right? So doing that, I think the experience that would keep the motivation up, right?
Wisdom, definitely.
Well, now, Sachin, this is the time that has become a tradition in Behind the Scanner. Uh, for the better or worse, we give you 1 minute to express whatever you want. It could be English related or not, whatever you want. So be smart, be whatever you want to be, and you have your 1 minute in 3, 2, Shoot.
Okay, this is really hard. I know that I have to do this. I think I'll go for Ingress related itself. I would ask people, urge people to, make the game competitive. Same thing that I mentioned, but not so competitive that you start disliking your opposite faction. I would request India to basically have a cross-faction field art. I wanted to do it during my time and I just failed, so I hope someone will do it. And yeah, have fun and build relationship, build friendship. The game MU and all would be forgotten, but I'm telling you, the relationships you built will never be forgotten. It's there for your rest of your life. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. And, well, we're bummed that your account is no longer. Thanks for just inspiring some of the work that you've done and, yeah, prioritizing the important things in life.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I'll be around here. Yeah, you can reach out to me anytime. Even though I've deleted my account, I stay here as a person, enlightened or assistance. You can reach out to me. And thanks for the opportunity.
Beautiful. Thanks. Have a good night. Oop, good day.
Thanks so
Yeah,
much.
yeah, thanks.
And well, now, agents, now it's time for the code of the show. So please, Jesse, can you put it in the screen? Yeah, there it is. So these are shareable, but well, we don't know if it's limited or how limited it is. So copy it, put it on your scanner, share it on your Hangout, whatever you want. This could be 20 redemptions, 500 redemptions, we don't know. So go, the time is running. This is going to be like 10 seconds and we're going to continue with the show. So, Daphne, are you typing it on your scanner? I'm watching you.
I'm just
You
taking care of. No, I'm taking
okay,
care of technical issues.
okay. Well, I think it's time. Hopefully, every one of you had copied that and shared it. So,
Yep.
Daphne,
All right. Okay, yeah. So our second guest for this evening is not Agent Splow from Seattle, but he is rather Agent Constantine from Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome, Zeke Cao.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Doing great. Glad to have you
great.
here.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
All right. So, sorry I had to add that little bit about Splow, since it's probably one of the things but that is one of the things I noticed most about you, like with a lot of your pictures, is there were a lot of photos of you tagged and Paul tagged, who was a teammate here in the D.C. area, although he's since moved to Seattle. But since a lot of my local foes were in those pictures, them mistaking you for one of my beloved frenemies.
Right, and I think that started when I was in San Francisco for the 13 Magnus. I think Brian Kroger came up, looked at Splow, be like, "What's up, Zeke?" And then we just played along like nothing happens. Like, so I pretended to be Paul, and Paul pretended to be me. So ever since then, it became a running joke to tag each other in our pictures.
That's awesome.
Well, I have to ask something before Miss Parker goes with this. Which is your GPB, man? Because there are pictures of you all over U.S., all over the complete anomalies. If you are not in two or more sites on one series of anomalies, at least you are in the final. So, which is your GPV?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Which is your GPV?
Um, Let me double check that.
Yeah, before I tag you here.
Yeah, yeah. I am at 7,297.
Wow.
So I wanted to get to platinum, but I've slowed down a lot in the past 6 months. Um, I mean, I got gold, Explorer like within the first 2 months of playing. So ever since then, I kind of slowed down a lot.
Gotcha. All right.
Okay.
Well, in addition to your UPV hunting, you've mentioned that you also hunt for other things during your travels. So, care to share?
Yeah, so with me, I've always loved to travel before I started playing Ingress, and Ingress allowed me, or gave me an excuse to travel more. So now when I travel, I sample beers, unique beers, and food. So if I find a recipes that I like or beer that I like, I'll try to save it and then share it with someone else next time, next place I travel to. So I just keep spreading the knowledge and wealth of just food and culture to the next place.
So, share a little knowledge. Favorite beer so far?
Favorite beer? Um, I would say Duvel from Belgium.
Okay. And favorite tasty food treats?
That's kind of hard to say. Probably the meatballs from Belgium as well.
All right. Belgium kind of guy, huh?
Yes.
Well, what have been some of your favorite adventures? English or not English related?
Um, I would definitely say both because I think 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I quit my job that I hated and I just decided to go to Europe, which was Belgium. So I quit my job, took the first flight that I could find, and just flew over there. No plan, no money, nothing, just wing it and see what I can find. And I just, backpacked and couch surfed my way across the country, meeting strangers who helped me out so much. They offered me their food, their house, everything. I was just on the street in the rain walking around. And I loved it so much that when Ingress first came out, I was like, dang it, I just left the country. I wish Ingress existed when I was there. So I came back the next month. Like when Ingress came out, I came back in December in Belgium again and just hang out and met everyone and did the same thing I did before, except with the scanner in hand. So that was my best experience there.
Great.
Okay. Yeah, and I see I can understand why you have a particular affection towards Belgium. But that's not usually top when people want to dream about going to Europe. Um, so why were you so attracted to Belgium?
I'm not sure. I had some friends there already, and they keep wanting me to come over. But I think it's like a hidden gem of Europe. A lot of people pass through, but they don't stop there because it's just such a small country. But it's surrounded by Netherlands, Germany, France, and everything else around it. And NATO is there, the European Union is there, European Commission, like all the big country like United Nations is also there. And so this country, they speak three different languages, have like three different cultures, and they don't really get along, very well until someone else comes in as an outsider, and I'm friends with everyone, and I'm crossing all the cultural borders between the north and the south, and they're like, wait, they do that stuff over there too? And I'm like, yes, they do the exact same you guys do. And people just are so confused that it's one unified country, but divided by languages and two different governments. It's crazy.
I can see. All right. Well, and you know, just from I think learning about you and seeing your G Plus profile, I mean, there's obviously a trend of a curiosity about culture and creativity during your travels. But more locally, what are some of your hobbies or interests?
Um, Photography is one of them. I love taking pictures. I love cooking. for others, especially like sharing food and whatnot. I don't really cook for myself that much, but I love cooking for other people. Um, I do a lot of technology stuff, building computers, and I work on cars as well. I love just driving around the country and flying, especially. Just I like air travel as well.
And do you participate in any specific cultural activities back home?
Um, each year I do volunteer for the Japanese festival locally. I've been doing so for the past 6 years, and I've met a bunch of crazy people. So it's been fun.
Nice.
Well, uh, what would you say that English offer the world at large?
Mm, I think a chance to connect and to bring people together. Like I said, sometimes people just don't talk to each other. Like the neighbors don't talk to each other for whatever reason. And like this game bring everyone together. I've seen, you know, different countries, people from different countries playing together, like older generation like grandparents playing with their grandkids, and people that otherwise have no commonality playing with each other. And this is the thing that really impressed me about Ingress. It's just if someone asked me, hey, do you know someone who does this for a living? I would say, yes, give me a second. So the infrastructure that Ingress has built, it's so crazy. Like, Sashin said, his employees are Ingress agents, and I've been wanting to start up a company myself. And the first people I would hire would also be agents because I know they've already been vetted and been verified. So if their work ethics has already been proven clearly, if someone come in and ask you know, for a job, and I'm like, hey, who is this guy? And someone say, oh, he's a cheater or spoofer. I'd be like, sorry, just not interested. And I think it's crazy that I can use Ingress as a way to see people's true skills and true talents and true intentions, and that's impressive.
I think Sachin can wholeheartedly agree with you with that kind of screening process. Um,
Well,
oh,
uh,
go ahead.
before we continue, for everyone that is watching the show, you can submit questions to our guest. If you are watching this on YouTube, you have to click on the banner at the top, at the bottom of the video that says "Be part of the conversation." So from there, you just have to click the square grid menu icon in the upper right and select Q&A, and there you go. You can ask whatever you want, and well, let's see if Zeke is going to answer that.
Yeah, there's definitely a question or two in there. I'd love to hear the answers to.
Yeah, me too.
Before we do that, let's get deep for a minute. We've had some interesting situations lately with players around the globe having to deal with real-life political and societal issues. Um, do you see a way that non-Mexican players could use Ingress to highlight these situations or other problems?
Yeah, that's definitely a deep issue to talk about. And I think what Ingress does, it brings out either the best in people or the worst in people. And I've seen both sides of the spectrum, and sometimes people don't really get how social and how connected this game is. And every action that you do has real life consequences. And things like, people not associating with certain people because they're a different faction and things like that. And that comes back to, for example, this kind of extreme, but like the whole Rwanda genocide and whatnot. You know, this, government comes in and telling people, oh, these two groups are totally different. You guys hate each other and go ahead and start fighting. And I think that whole divide, that artificial divide, kind of it bothers me a little bit because people who otherwise normally are the same are now separated by these virtual ideas and differences that shouldn't exist in the first place. I've seen people get divorces playing Ingress, and I've seen just friends who have known each other for decades find out, oh my God, you're online or you're resistant. They're like, all right, we can't talk anymore, and that doesn't make sense to me. And I don't think people should take the whole fashion thing too seriously. In the end, we're all the same people, and saying, all in line are bad or all resistance are bad. In the end, it's just like you're perpetuating a stereotype that is not true. And the next, person who comes along playing Ingress who don't know what's going on, they believe whatever the veterans tell them. And that itself just, is like bloodshed that keeps getting dragged on and on and on again without an end. And I think you have to step up and be an example. You have to lead by example and stop perpetuating that kind of stereotyping or um, grouping people into one group or in particular who they may not be represent. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. And I agree. I agree. There are a lot of misconceptions of things in how to do things on English, like um, how to communicate with the other faction or things like that. You said very well that that sometimes perpetuating hate it's horrible in the game. So, but well, let's go to happiest part of the game. What
Sure.
is your personal motivation for playing Ingress, and have you noticed any difference from players in different cultures for their motivations?
Um, my personal motivation, I think, is that challenge that I'm doing something impossible. Like Sashin said, like it's all about proving myself. It's not so much proving myself to other people. It's proving myself that I can do something. And so, I mean, I have all these challenges. Like I'm scared of like swimming. Like I can't swim, and so like if I see like open waters, I freak out. And I think Ingress puts me in that mindset where if I don't do this for an op, the op's gonna fail, and I have to like push myself to do it. And a lot of these personal fears, like being lost or being out in the wild with no communication, like no cell phone, no signal, no electricity. Like I felt so sheltered with the way I was raised, and then having Ingress like put me back out in the wild, out of my comfort zone. That itself really motivates me to keep going, because I'm being attacked by like bears at trying to get this portal for an op, and it's crazy. It's like, well, best portal shield ever. It's sending a bear running after me. Things like that just blows my mind. And players from it depends. Like such as some place it's so rural and so remote that you don't have the portal density, and for them the challenge is just walking further and further each day to find a portal. Um, Whereas the people in like urban area wants to get the most AP possible because they can, and things like that. It all depends on where you are, how your local society is structured. Be it like walking around or biking around or driving around. Um, it's I say pick a challenge that or something that makes you uncomfortable in real life and apply that to the game and use the game as your goal, your metrics.
Interesting. All right, so I've been jumping around. I'm very curious to know, money no object, what kind of profession would you embark on?
I would want to be something like what Anthony Bourdain does: travel, eat food, and blog about it and take pictures. Like if I can quit my job and just take my camera and go out there and just do things and go to places with no reservation for anything. Someone say, "Hey, try this from this country," and say nice things about it. Okay, hit me up.
Interesting. Yeah, I can completely agree with you on that.
I bet you do, Daphne.
Yeah, I'm
So
like, okay, let's find the people who wouldn't want to be doing that.
yeah, that's true. You mentioned that you slow down in your gameplay. How would you describe it right now?
I think you know, I played such an intense game in the first like 2 years that I have burnt out everything that I wanted to do. Like people are like, hey, let's do this, and I'm like, it's okay. Let's chase some like artifacts around. Nah, been there, done that. I don't really care. A lot of people who first start the Ingress, they're like, oh my god, this sounds so awesome, but for people who have done it, they're like, it's cool watching and looking from the outside in, but once you're actually doing it, you're like, it's not really fun sitting in a swamp or being bitten by a mosquito for hours waiting for this stupid virtual object to pop up on your screen. Like, it doesn't make sense logically. And I mean, I've slowed down in terms of actual like playing Ingress actively on the scanner, but I do so many background, like behind the scenes stuff with community management and just still being a point of contact for certain things. Um, so a lot of stuff that I do are not visible in the game wise. Like I don't play for AP. Like I don't care about stats. So I can drive 300 miles to kill one portal, for a field to go up. And so people are like, your stat sucks. And I'm like, yeah, because I do everything else that I don't get credit for. But I love doing that kind of stuff. So just job wise, I'm so busy now that I have to slow down. And like Sashin said, it's work life and family balance. I can't devote everything else because I'm taking time away from people I care about. Just playing this game, So I have to step back and say, all right, let's have a family dinner or let's go have coffee. Things like that I miss the most.
Yeah, understand that.
I,
All right. Well, are you ready for some viewer questions?
Sure.
All right. Wow, some really interesting ones, but I think possibly the most challenging, but I know how I would answer this. So
Yeah.
I'm going to see how you answer it. From Gina Steinborn. Zeke Cow. Oh my god, you're so cute. Will you marry me? I'm assuming that's how she say it. Channeling her voice.
Yeah, unfortunately I'm not available at this point, so maybe in a few years, possibly. Who knows? There's always a possibility.
All right. Well, and she does have another question as well. Um, Tell us about some of the ways you contribute to the community outside of the game. Some of the fundraisers you've done, why you do them, and what was one that was really close to your heart?
I think it started out with the Extra Life Challenge, where you play video games for like 24 hours and donate to the the Children's Miracle Network. And like, when I first heard about it, I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. I can just play Ingress that I do anywhere and help donate money to sick kids in hospitals. That's awesome. I'll do it. And then the first time I did it, Ingress actually was the biggest team on their page, like the record-breaking fundraising just for Ingress. And
Wow.
I was surprised. And the second time I did it, Fev from Portland also did it too. So we kind of like compete with ourselves. And that time I shared it not only on Google Plus but on Facebook as well. And the most touching moment that I had was Devra actually was the first donor.
Oh, wow.
Real person actually donated to that fundraising, and she was like, I'm really impressed by what you do, and this idea, it's extremely important, and impressive to me is that she's like, here, take some money. And that itself kind of pushed me to keep going. I'd actually play for like 48 hours straight.
Oh my gosh.
Push myself too much there. But it's fun, it's worth it.
That's cool. Are you working on any fundraisers right now?
I still donate here and there for like private donation, like GoFundMe, when there's so many articles or posts lately about people losing their jobs or losing their loved ones, and it breaks my heart that I wish I can like give money away like it's nothing, but if I can't donate money, I actually try to share it or make people aware of it. So if you have any extra spare change, you can donate, and you never know. There's always going to be people with loads of money wanting to do something, like that.
development is a very, yeah, it's a pretty crazy industry. All right. Well, Joe Thoreau has a question for you. Um, Interesting take on the political divide bleeding into games. Do you have any recommendations on how Niantic could help with that situation in their games?
Um, it's kind of a tough question to answer just because of so many things I cannot like publicly comment. Um, from my perspective, from my just opinion, and this does not reflect the opinion of Niantic or Google or anything like that. I think that more transparency would help, and more, I would say, interaction or conversation between the developers and the players. And so far, I think that's the biggest challenge that they have right now. It's just they want to do the best for the players, but at the same time, they don't really look into how the players perceive that. Like the best intentions are often misunderstood. And
True.
it's kind of weird being stuck on both sides of the spectrum where I know what's going on the back end, and I also know what the players feel when they're out, playing and being, I guess, Calvin balled. And I I don't know which side to take. I'm like, hey, they're doing their best, and I try to bring feedback from both sides, like bounce around, and I can only do so much without breaking certain NDAs or whatnot. And people like Joe Philly or Brian Rose do a spectacular job of just bridging that relationship. And I think more people like that would actually help. Having more community managers like that who can devote their time to communicate with players and actually make players feel like they're part of the team instead of just a client base or a customer.
Okay. All right. One last question from Mustafa Saeed. What's a memory of Ingress that you're extremely fond of?
That's hard to say. I've been to so many situations. Uh, I think the fact that the first time I went to Belgium, I just reached out to the community. Hey, I'm visiting from the U.S. Can I join your community? And at first they're like, who is this guy? Like the recruiting or verification tactics was really like stringent and strict, and I was like, wow, these guys are serious. But once you get past that initial stage, they welcome me so much that they basically adopted me as like a native Belgian. And every time I come back, I have a home to stay, multiple homes actually. So those guys are my family, and to this day, I don't. If I need something, I'll just say, hey, I need a place to stay or a ride somewhere, and they always welcome me with open arms, and things like that. It's what Ingress is about, just having a home in every city you travel to, and everyone in the world is your friend.
Very true.
That is really true, Ingress. That's one of the best things of Ingress. Someone said well, already long ago that playing Ingress is makes you know that you have friends all over the world. So and I think it's really true. But well, before we get into your 60 seconds, there's a question that I don't want to skip. It says, Zeke, what's the story with the kilt?
All right. Um,
Andrew's out here.
I don't know, like, I have a really good friend, Todd Vogwig from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and he's a Freemason, and like they wear kilts, and the kilt is just it looks so awesome, and I don't know, like he even convinced me to um, try to wear it, but I'm like, no, I don't know, it's weird, whatever. I keep putting it off, and then one day they're like, for the anomaly, everyone in our family is gonna wear the kilt. And since they're like my adoptive English parents, like I'm like the Ingress son. Just we kind of got that going somewhere along the way. I forgot when, but since I'm actually part of their family, I'm like, all right, fine, I wear a kilt too. So just to show solidarity, being on the same team for the anomaly and being Ingress and being resistance too, the whole like Scottish fighting for their rights. And so I'm like, all right, fine, I'll put the kilt on. And it just took off from there. I think Joe Philly was like, hey, what are you wearing underneath that kilt? And he tried to do that, like taking pictures from underneath, like when he did with Clue, which cracked me up. So as soon as he did that, everyone's like, well, these guys are serious. And it felt pretty good, so I just kept wearing the kilt.
Do you feel free?
It's very free, very free. So everyone always asks, are you wearing the proper way? And all I can say, you're welcome to check.
Okay. Well, better if we go to your 60 seconds now.
Yeah.
So, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to do, if you want to stand up and dance, you can do it, man. So, go ahead.
I guess the biggest thing that I wanted people to take away from playing Ingress is every action that you do has long-lasting consequences, and don't alienate yourself by not talking to the other faction or things like that, because you never know if the next person could be your boss, your girlfriend, your wife, whatever. Don't ever put yourself in a position where you are so loyal to one team that you forget you're still human. And for me, it's human first, Ingress second, and then faction last. And my loyalty it's to humanity in the end. And a lot of people forget that. They forget that we're just the same outside of this game. And I got my job at Google because of Ingress connections. So that's an example you can take away from. Just treat people right, and it comes back to you. Just karma.
Nice. Well said.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Zeke. Appreciate you being with us tonight.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been fun. I mean, Sashin was amazing. I wish I had met him sooner. He's really funny and insightful, and you guys are as well. So keep up with the show. It's a great job, and hope to see you guys next time.
Thank you, Zeke. I'll send you Krakens soon. So.
Yes.
So thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Sachin. Join us next week, please. It's going to be fun, really fun.
Yeah, very excited about our guest next week, which you will find out very soon. All right, everybody, happy hacking and have a good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
So where are the credits?
Credits are up, aren't they?
Oh yeah, we are there.
All right.
So
So I have to ask though, how many Asians actually wear kilts?
I've met maybe a handful. Not that many. I mean, I don't know. I think for me, the one time I showed up without a kilt, like they will look at me like, where's Zeke? It's just, when you're so associated with certain things, people just don't recognize you otherwise. And that's part of like my Ingus wardrobe essentially.
All right, Sachin, do we have any Indians that wear kilts too?
No, no.
We're gonna have to change.